Let me tell you that what we're beginning to understand is that some specific plant-based foods are actually able to protect our blood vessel, protect our vision, and what's good for our eyes or good for our brain. So you get a two-bar for a double-barreled approach to overall better quality of life and protected function or vision. One of the most profound clinical studies, biggest clinical studies on food and health was run about 20 years ago, started 20 years ago by the National Eye Institute. So this is sort of in the National Institute of Health, like a very credible group of researchers wanted to find out, could we prevent vision loss, right? Very important in an aging population, right? Because, people are working at an older age now, and if you can't see, you can't work. And so your productivity and quality of life go way down. And by the way, the other reason to protect vision has to do with the fact that our eyes allow us to be independent as we get older. We all want to be independent. We want to do our own thing. And the problem is that if you can't see, you can't be independent. You can't even take your own medicines, right? And if you need them as an older person, so protecting vision was a big priority. So what was discovered is that there are dietary supplements that are made of the same things you can find in foods: xanthan, lutein, carotenoids, okay? And I'll come to the foods in a second, that when given to people in their 60s and 70s and 80s can dramatically reduce the risk of vision loss from macular degeneration. Amazing, right? So here's a dietary supplement that actually works. There's so much huious about the salesmanship of dietary supplements. If you ever wanted to find one supplement to trust, it's the one that had the largest clinical trial to preserve your vision. It's called ARDS, ARDS. I don't get paid by any companies doing any of this stuff. I'm just telling you the facts. Data is really convincing. So ARDS is recommended for people, frankly, over the age of 50 to take once a day in order to be able to protect their vision. But here's the thing, the sulfonarants is really, some vitamins, there's lutein, there's xanthan. These are these chemicals that I just mentioned, xanthan, lutein. These are natural chemicals that Mother Nature has laced into foods. What are some of the foods? Watercress, kale, broccoli, red bell peppers, persimmons, tomatoes. You get these same type of natural bioactives just from the foods that we can eat. So, the whole idea of plant-based foods, which is a generalization, we can be more specific, of carrots, red bell peppers, kale, leafy greens like watercress, those actually contribute to blood vessel health for your eye, to lower the risk that you might have blood vessels going out of control. They tame the lion. And the other thing that they actually do is they also, because you're eating them, they go into the bloodstream, they also affect your brain. They also protect and tame circulation to ensure better brain circulation as well as better blood flow to the brain. Now I'm going to tell you, not only has that sort of been shown by the dietary supplements that translate the food. By the way, the other thing that's really cool is that there's some evidence that's starting to develop that these supplements for eye disease also protect against dementia as well. Isn't that cool? All right, now foods are really important because we can also protect the blood vessels directly. So there are foods that there's a substance in strawberries called oleic acid that we know actually can prevent abnormal blood vessels from growing. They're blood vessel tamers. And when you actually have ELC acid from a strawberry, oleic acid is what makes strawberries tart, okay? And if you get organic strawberries, they actually have higher levels. And the reason is because the strawberry plant naturally makes oleic acid as a response to being nibbled on by bugs in the environment. So this is Mother Nature's wound healing response. So when you grow naturally, the strawberry is going to have more electric acid. When you eat an organic strawberry, grown naturally, you're going to get more of this blood vessel protective response. Recently, it's been shown by a group at University of Cincinnati, eating just 1 cup of ripe strawberries per day for 6 weeks. This is published in a research journal, actually, in middle-aged people who had mild cognitive deficits, right? Not full-blown end-stage dementia, but mild, like, where are my keys? I'm sorry, what is that again? The thing that you're starting to develop the symptoms and actually improve memory. Strawberries, 1 cup against the placebo It reduced the depression and frustration of not being able to remember things. Okay. And it actually improved the score, the cognitive executive functioning score, all because of the electric acid and another bioactive, we think, called anthocyanin as well. So again, we're beginning to tease apart. Like I always tell people, don't worry about the chemical names. Don't worry about remembering all the details, like people like me who study food as medicine, and I write about this in my book. Let me do the heavy lifting for you. Let me tell you that what we're beginning to understand is that some specific plant-based foods are actually able to protect our blood vessel, protect our vision, and what's good for our eyes are good for our brain. So you get a 2-for for a double-barreled approach to overall better quality of life and protected function. Hey there, I've got an exciting resource just for you, and it's all about the 5 brain-boosting habits for longevity. These simple but powerful habits are all based on science and can help elevate your brain's cognitive ability and support your overall brain health. If you're ready to unlock the secrets to a sharper mind and a healthier future, then click the link below the video to access this valuable information, or you can take out your smartphone and scan the QR code on the screen right now. Now, let's get back to the video. So let's talk about the 5 foods that are able to help preserve and protect your vision. The first food are eggs. Eggs contain Eltin and xanthan. These are 2 of the bioactives that are found in the supplement Arabids 2. They can actually help prevent progression of vision loss from macular degeneration as we're aging. And what's wonderful is that it's found in the egg yolk. In fact, these bioactives are carotenoids that make the egg yolk orange. So if you've ever eaten eggs and you look at the egg yolk and it's just bright yellow like the sun, that is actually an egg that doesn't really have the richest amount of carotenoid. So lutein, xanthan. What you really want are eggs that come from pasture raised or freer range hens that are able to eat anything they want. They eat the things that hens eat, and from the plant-based food that the hens eat, they get lutein and zeaxanthin, and they actually put it into their eggs. The hens put that healthy carotenoids into the eggs, and then when we eat the eggs, we actually get the benefit. Our eyes actually get the benefits. So that's what I recommend, that you actually look for eggs that come from pasture-raised or freer range hen. So when you crack open the egg and look at the yolk, it should be it should be really rich orange, dark orange, even red orange, like the blood moon. That's what I actually say. If you have a friend who has chickens and hens that lay eggs, you might want to ask them if they could provide some of the eggs for you. Okay, now how do you eat the eggs? Well, there's a lot of ways to actually eat eggs. I like to cook some and to tell you about foods and enjoyable ways to have them. Food should be about joy. So I like to actually eat eggs that are hard boiled. So, you can set a timer, you boil your egg, and it actually makes the yolk solid and also the egg white solid. I like that. So when you peel off the shell, you have a hard boiled egg, and I like to bite off the top of it, expose a little bit of that solid yolk. And then you can actually put a little sprinkle of salt on there and just eat that. And that's a great, simple way to have a protein-rich, bioactive-rich, lutein xanth-rich, good for eye breakfast. All right. Now, if you really want to fancy it up a little bit and have a nice culinary or gastronomic toast to it, try adding a little, instead of salt, putting just half a little container of soy sauce or a dipping bowl with soy sauce, and you can dip the egg into the soy sauce and eat that. That's got this nice umami flavor from soy sauce. It's also got the salt in it, so you don't need to add extra salt to that. So that's boiled eggs. Another way to obviously eggs is to fry them. Like I like sunny side up eggs. I like the yolk cooked a little bit more. Basically, you're frying your egg now. Rather than use butter, which actually is saturated fat, that actually is not really good for your retina, your vision, because too much butter, saturated fat, actually can lead to clogging of the arteries. I actually, when I fry eggs, which I sometimes do, I will use extra virgin olive oil. because number one, it's a healthy fat, healthy oil, and it's full of polyphenols. And those polyphenols also get into the egg. So I'm actually adding to the health of the egg as well. Now, of course, you can scramble eggs as well. Again, I don't use butter. I would use extra virgin olive oil. You don't need very much of it, just a little bit, and whip up the eggs, and then beat the eggs and put them in there and stir fry them up into a scramble, or scramble up the eggs. And that's a great way to actually get lutein and xanthan. Now, if you don't like eggs for breakfast or any meal, actually, frankly, another way to get xanthine and lutein, good for the eye, from eggs, it's not in a breakfast food, is in egg noodles. A lot of people don't know this, but egg noodles, compared to regular noodles, have 6 times more of these carotenoids, lutein and andian, and then regular noodles, not made with eggs. Now, obviously, how you prepare the noodles and what you're cooking with them, makes all the difference in the world. But you want to do it in a healthy way. That's outside of the scope of this video, how to cook egg noodles. But I would just tell you that's another way to get the lutein and xanthine. So, food number 1 are eggs. Food number 2, sweet potato. I love sweet potato. All right. And sweet potato contains vitamin A, retinol. And this is actually also important for retinol health. And just 1 cup of sweet potato contains, guess what? 1,920 micrograms of retinol activity, which is 213% of what you need for the daily recommended value. So basically, just 1 cup of cooked potato gives you way more than you need to be able to get good, healthy vitamin A, which is good for your eyesight. Now, there's a lot of ways to cook sweet potatoes. One of my favorite is a simple, because I like to cook as simply as possible. You can bake them, and you can bake them in the oven. It's kind of a put them in the oven and step away. You can wrap them up in foil, step away, do something else, and then they'll be done. And you can actually have a nice, simple sweet potato. Lots of different ways to look recipes to eat it, but I like it plain. You can also add sweet potatoes to a stew. So if you're making a vegetable stew, you can actually cut up sweet potato and add it in there, and that will actually lend to add vitamin A to your stew. You can also make a soup. I actually love sweet potato soup. You can look up the recipe, but I like cooking down the sweet potato with a little onion, a little bit of ginger. I cook it in vegetable broth, makes it nice and soft. Add a little touch of coconut milk for richness, a little paprika, apple cider vinegar. Can even chop up some apples in there. Cook oil together, put them into a blender, and puree it. Really, really smooth. That actually is a very nice sweet potato soup. Lots of variations, lots of ways you can spice it up and create the flavor profile a little bit differently. But sweet potatoes, vitamin A, chock full of vitamin A, good for retinal health, good for eyesight, good for protecting your vision. Now, food number 3, colored greens. Now, colored greens are part of brasa, and brasa contains suerphanes. These suerphanes are natural chemicals, are actually really great for our metabolism. They lower inflammation. They're good to help us fight excess harmful body fat. Lots of good reasons to actually have collard greens as part of the Suer-brassica family. But guess what? Collard greens also have a lot of vitamin A. In fact, 1 cup of cooked collard greens has 80% of your daily value So it's a great source, plenty in collard greens. So collard greens are cooked in a lot of different ways. I always say try to cook your healthy greens in the healthiest way possible, so you're not taking something good and you're cooking in a way that actually doesn't make it takes away from some of its health. So what I like to do, you take collard greens, these are big leaves, and you kind of cut out with a knife the stems. You can pile up, the leaves with the stems cut out, and then roll them up into sort of like a big fat green cigar. And then you can slice them on a cutting board into little strands. Now you've got these strands, you can loosen them up, and then take a cast iron pan, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of garlic, chopped garlic, saute the greens in that. If you want to put a little bit of vegetable stock in there, it actually is really good. And then you can add some red chili flakes, squeeze a lemon, and now you have a kind of a Mediterranean style collard green saute. If you want to serve it, make it kind of Brazilian style. You can serve it with rice and beans. Beans are good for your gut microbiome, and there's more research coming out now showing that good, healthy gut microbiome, healthy gut bacteria, the 39 trillion bacteria in our gut, are also important for actually protecting our vision and helping to prevent macular degeneration. This is an area of research that's still being worked out, but clearly gut health is brain health, and the EY is part of the brain as well. All right, food number 4, cantaloupe. I love cantaloupes. All right, I got to tell you, I got a wet spot for cantaloupes. I love me melons in general, but cantaloupe is one of my favorite. A really, really nice, ripe, juicy cantaloupe. Great source of vitamin A. 1 cup of cut up cantaloupe has about 30% of your daily value for retinol, right? Retinoic acid, vitamin A. So it's a great source. And who only eats 1 cup of cantaloupe? Right? I usually eat, when I'm sitting down eating a cantaloupe and cut up into cubes, I'll probably eat 1 or 2 cups actually. And so you get basically more than half of your daily value of vitamin A by just eating a serving or 2 of cantaloupe. Now, I like to eat cantaloupe plain, but if you want to actually get a little bit fancier and do some interesting things, because who likes to eat the same thing the same way all the time? I know we're creatures of habit, but I think if you want to love your food, to love your health, and love your vision health, you might want to try mixing it up a little bit. And if you're having guests over, you want to impress them, try grilling your cantaloupe. So if you want to try grilling cantaloupe, that's a really amazing way. If you're having compy over, just cut out the slice of cantaloupe, kind of like a boat of cantaloupe. All right, stick it on the grill, get some grill lines on it. You'll get that. You'll start cooking it a little bit, and then squeeze some lime and chili powder on it. And now you'll get this really zingy, sweet, delicious, slightly smoky cantaloupe. That'd be a great kind of an appetizer to serve people and have it on the table for company. The other thing you can do, if you want to make it more of a dessert, cantaloupe is great cut up along with strawberries, and chop up a little bit of mint, mix it together, and you've got this great, really summery fruit dessert food. Number 5, corn. Corn. What says summer more than corn? Well, corn actually contains L-tin and xanthan, the same thing that's important for protecting your vision from vision loss, from macular degeneration. And yellow corn has the highest amount of lutein and xanthan. Blue corn has the least. All right, so get yellow corn, and I love just fresh corn on the cob. You can pick out the corn. It's already got the covering on it, the leaves on it. You peel it off, rinse it off, and just boil it. Don't overboil it. Boil it just to its right. You can look up on the internet how to actually do this, and then just eat a simple cup of corn. Again, rather they put butter on it, which is kind of a old tradition. Like when I was growing up, we always put butter in our corn. What I say is just put a little extra virgin olive oil on it and a tiny little bit of salt, and you'll get a really delicious flavor. And now you get the polyphenols from the olive oil as well as the lutein and xanthan from corn. And by the way, corn protein, new research shows corn protein is also good for cognition, good for memory. And so corn's just a really simple but great and healthy food. Popcorn, also a good source of dietary fiber. But let's talk about corn. You can make corn in a salad. So cook your corn, slice off the kernels. You want to mix it with some beans, some cooked beans, and chopped rue-bell pepper. Add a little bit of lime juice, add a bit of extra virgin olive oil. Now you've got like a room temperature salad you can serve. It's great summer, or I actually love corn soup. Now you can make a corn chowder, or you can make a smooth corn soup. And I like a smooth corn soup. You can add a little bit of cumin and turmeric for color and some spiciness, a little bit of healthy spice, never hurt anybody. And corn soup is a great way to actually do that. Hey there. Are you ready to use food to improve your health? I do cover a lot in my YouTube videos, but there's only so much time to dive deep into how to use food as medicine. That's why I created my Eat to Beat Disease course. In my course, I walk you through how to use everyday foods that you can find in your grocery store to boost your body's health defenses. This is all based on my research, and everything is rooted in science, and I've made it super easy to follow with practical everyday tips. Whether you're trying to prevent disease or just want to optimize your health for longevity, my Eat to Be Disease course gives you all the tools to make it real and to help you get lasting changes that will help you live longer and live better. To learn more, click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen. I can't wait to get started together in my course. Now, back to the video. So now, here are some of the things that you can do to avoid vision loss above and beyond sort of the foods that you eat. So we talked about 5 foods that you can actually eat to protect your vision. But here's a couple of other tips to protect your vision as well. Number 1, avoid excess salt. Salt in our food tastes great, but unfortunately, too many people eat too much salt. I mean, if you go to a restaurant and you see how they actually cook food, go ahead in an open kitchen and just watch the person who's cooking. And you'll see oftentimes when they put salt in a pan, they put a ton of salt in a pan. Does taste good, but over time, excess dietary salt gives us hypertension, high blood pressure. The salt in your blood actually moves fluid into your bloodstream. Now you got like a huge amount of fluid in your body that causes hypertension. It stresses out the lining of your blood vessels called the endothelium, and now your blood vessels get hard, and that is a setup. Hypertension is called a silent killer, and it sets you up for heart attack and stroke. Now, hypertension and hardening of the vessels in your retina and underneath that layer also can accelerate vision loss as well. So you don't want to actually have too much salt. Good for your brain to lower salt, good for your vision as well. Now, one of the things is where a place that you can often find excess salt is an ultra-processed food. So along with all the other usual reasons to avoid ultra-processed foods, protecting your vision is another one because of the excess salt that's often found in ultra-processed foods. Another thing you want to do to avoid is to avoid overeating, because overeating, excess caloric intake sets you up for metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a setup for type 2 diabetes, and type 2 diabetes can lead to diabetic retinopathy. Remember, the retina is the back of the eye, that carpet. And diabetes can affect and damage the retina, especially the circulation, the blood vessels feeding that retina. You get leakage, you get non-perfusion, you've got blood vessels going like crazy, and you can actually bleeding in your retina, and that can wipe out your vision as well. So avoid diabetes, okay? And one way to avoid diabetes, type 2 diabetes, is actually to avoid overeating. There's a lot of other ways that are involved with this as well, but overeating is a big one. Now, there's some other things you should look for on an everyday basis to make sure you're protecting your vision. For example, if you have blurred vision, that's a symptom. Blurred vision is a symptom of all kinds of eye diseases. If the blood vision doesn't clear up, or you start seeing wavy lines in your sight line, better go see an eye doctor, all right? Or if you can't see out of one eye, most people don't do this because we just look out of both eyes. But if you cover one eye and you can't see anything, all right? But on this eye, you cover it, you can actually see. You got a problem with one eye, then you need to see an eye doctor, because one of those eyes, the one that you can't see out of, well, is going to have a problem. You got to go to an ophthalmologist. That's an eye doctor who then can actually give you a proper diagnosis. Okay, go to the eye doctor, not the ophthalmologist. The optometrist actually measures your general vision and can fit you for eyeglasses, but you want to go to the ophthalmologist for medical treatment and maybe surgical treatment as well. That's when you're actually looking for these submission symptoms that signify it's a red flag. You got to go to an eye doctor now. When you get to your middle age, like 50 and above, you should be getting an annual dilated eye exam every year. What's a dilated eye exam? That's basically where you go to the eye doctor after they make you read all the lines on the chart, at the back of the room. Then they actually gives you some eye drops, and those eye drops will dilate your pupil, all right, the black spot in your eye. And then the eye doctor will have you rest your chin in kind of while you're seated in kind of a device, and they'll use that to actually a slit lamp to actually look at the back of your retina. They can see everything. All right. When you get a dilated eye exam, by the way, which hopefully you'll get, check out. They'll look at your retina. They'll look at your macula. They'll look at other parts to make sure everything is looking good. And sometimes I also take a picture. There's a special scan called OOC, optical coherence tomography. It's kind of like a CAT scan of the back of your eye, but it's really, really fast and doesn't give you radiation. And you can actually check the health of the blood vessels and the retina to make sure there isn't fluid there. But if you get a deleted eye exam, you're probably going to need a ride home. So better, have a friend or a family member take you to the AOR. They're going to drive you back, because once they give you the eye drops to dilate your pupil, it takes a few hours before your pupil goes back to normal size. And when your pupil's really big, first of all, you're really sensitive to light. Second, you can't really see that well, so you don't want to be driving. So get a ride for a dilated eye exam. All right, so here's the sum up. Number one, if vision is one of your most important senses, which I think it probably is, you want to actually be aware that there are things you need to do to protect it. And in addition to taking AREDS or AREDS 2 that contain lutein zazon, then you can use diet. You can eat eggs, the colorful vegetables, sweet potato, collard greens, corn, cantaloupe. We talked about those. There's many other foods that actually have lutein and zazon and vitamin A. You want to actually get a regular eye exam with your ophthalmologist and do an eye exam at home. Cover up your eyes and see if you can actually read well. If you can't, you got blurred vision or black spots or blurry spots, you might want to go see an ophthalmologist. And after you see an ophthalmologist, I'll tell you, be compliant. Follow the instructions of what they tell you, especially if you have any follow-up visits. All right. You don't want to lose your vision. Your eye doctor, your ophthalmologist is there to take care of your vision. All right. So it's up to you to predict your vision. Your ophthalmologist will help you do it at the medical level. And there's foods that you can actually eat in order to be able to help protect your vision as well. I hope you learned something about your vision and how to protect it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey, if you liked that video, then you're going to love this one. Check it out.